Hey everybody, Mike here. Just got back from another record store expedition today and wanted to share with you guys what I picked up. I'm really excited about some things I found today and some recent things that I've gotten in the mail. I break down, but I haven't been on eBay in I don't know how long, years and years. I signed up on an account the other day. Thought sometimes it's just going to be easier to find some stuff online, and I got a few things that I got off of eBay. And you see Jack's in the video again. He always likes to be my co-host. Hey, buddy, we're going to have to clear some room here in a bit. But I want to show you some new vinyl finds, so let's just get started. Okay, came back from a new shop I found today, and a kind of a flea market kind of shop in Noblesville, Indiana. And an independent guy has his own little corner there. He's got a great record selection. And I found some great stuff there today. I'm going to start off with this one. Everybody probably knows this one. This is Montrose, their debut album. This is such a great hard rock album. I really think this is maybe one of the best genuine hard rock albums of all time. This is just a really great record. It was so influential on a lot of different hard rock bands in the 80s that came out after that. And of course, everyone knows Ronnie Montrose and his playing, and of course, Sammy Hagar kind of got his big break in this band, and just everyone knows the songs off of here: "Bad Motor Scooter," "Rock the Nation," and of course, it's just a couple of my absolute favorite Montrose song, and one of my favorite hard rock songs ever, "Rock Candy." Just one of the great hard rock riffs. I was really super excited to find this because, believe it or not, this is another one of those great albums that I've never owned in any format. I was a little disappointed with the sleeve or the jacket. The jacket's got a lot of wear on the side, and there's kind of some tearing on the back. But the vinyl is in great shape, and that's all that matters. This it was for the price of like $3 or so. I couldn't pass that up. So I'm really happy to have Montrose's self-titled album. I was excited to find this one too. I've been kind of on a kick with this lately. This is Frank Marino Mahogany Rush 4. Again, the cover or the jacket's not in the best shape. It's got some ring wear on it, and it's got kind of fading it's what you call some of this stuff on the side. Anyway, but the vinyl just looks immaculate. The vinyl's in great condition, and that's all that really matters. And I got this for I think pretty much a steal. You don't see, I don't see a lot of the Frank Marino, and when I do anymore, it seems like I'm going to pick it up. There was a couple others today that just at a matter of finances I had to leave behind and maybe see if I can get later. But after picking up New World Anthem a while back, I really liked it, and I was listening to this too. Frank Marino Mahogany Rush, great guitar player. I'm not usually I'm not a guitar geek. I like a good guitar player, but something about what Frank Marino does in his band that just I really dig the vibe we get from Mahogany Rush. So good pick up there. Super excited to find this one. This is Zebra's second album, No Tellin' Lies. Absolutely love this band. I think Zebra's one of the great underrated rock bands to come out of the 80s. I've been wanting to find this one on vinyl. The CD's out of print and a little too pricey to pick up. My cassette tape that I have probably doesn't play very well anymore. So this is another one of those that I've been wanting to find on vinyl, just to have to be able to play and listen to again. Great songs on this album too. Wait Until the Summer's Gone, Bears, kind of a funny title, great song. No Tellin' Lies, But No More. Just great song after great song on Zebra's second album. If you've never heard Zebra, check them out. Tell Me What You Want and Who's Behind the Door from their debut are two of my favorite rock songs ever. Love this band, and again, this is one I've been looking for, and there it was today. Pretty happy to pick it up. And then the big score of today was another one that's it's been on my hit list. This was a cassette tape I had that I just listened to all the time. while growing up, and I loved this album when it came out. Absolutely loved it. I only have one other album by this band, and this is Slade with Rogues Gallery. Some of the songs I really enjoyed from this were "Hey Ho, Wish You Well," "Little Sheila" was the hit, "Walking on Water," "Running on Alcohol," "The Mysterious Mr. Jones," "7-Year Bitch," "Lock Up Your Daughters," "Time to Rock." Just good song after good song, and I just played the hell out of this cassette tape, and it doesn't play anymore. So again, this is another one of those that's been on my radar that, pretty much, hey, when you find it, snatch it. It was just a little bit more than what I would have liked to have paid for it. The only thing that would have made this better would have been to have found it for like a couple bucks. But sometimes you got to pay for what you want, and I wanted this, and I picked it up today. Glad to have it. Now, the other day, I made a random stop into a half-price books. I only had a few minutes to spare. I wasn't really going to go in to look, and I was about to leave, and something told me, just sit down and go through the bottom budget rack and just see if there's anything new in there. And lo and behold, I had the Holy Grail, one of the albums I've been looking, well, not Holy Grail, but one of the albums I've been looking for and wanting to get, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere. And it's another one of those that I've always said, as soon as you see it, you're going to find it. And I got it for like $1, and it's in pristine shape, and I'm so happy to find it. And that was Donnie Iris, Back in the Streets. I never had this album back in the day. Of course, Aaliyah was the big hit off of this, and my other favorite song on this was the flip side of that single was Agnes. Those are just two great rock songs, and I think Donnie Iris was an underrated guy too in the '80s. I always thought this was just a cool record. Not a guy stripping naked in sequence is anything that I thought was cool, but just something about the cover, the color of the cover, and the guitar and his suit, and just the photography through the whole thing. I just always thought this was a cool looking record, but I just never bought it. And this is one I was wanting to pick up, and was so glad to find it. And of course, whoever unloaded it also was kind enough to ditch their copy of King Cool. The Love Is Like a Rock was the hit from this album. But again, another underrated rock album that for $1, I was so stoked to pick those two up. And then just a few more from the dollar bin, because I can never stop at one or two. So again, these were $1. If they're halfway decent, I figured you can't lose. This is John Waite with No Brakes. I like John Waite from back in the Babies to Bad English to everything he's done. Pretty pleased to find this one. And then, hey, again, take some flack, maybe. Can't be metal all the time, can't even be rock all the time, but this album just jumped out at me. Again, as $1. It's in pristine shape. The album, the cover, the jacket's in great shape, the vinyl's in great shape. This is the Oak Ridge Boys with Bobby Sue. I've never owned an Oak Ridge Boys album, but hey, when I was a kid, I really dug the song Elvira. This was the follow-up album that was on. Bobby Sue was a big hit for the band. And, hey, a little diversity in the collection. Again, for $1, I wasn't going to let this one sit in the bin. Okay, now, on to the pickups that I got through the mail. Again, I've talked about how one of my objectives, and again, I'm not a huge vinyl guy. I don't know that I'd call myself an enthusiast. I'm not an audiophile. I've had a vinyl collection growing up, and I don't buy a lot of new vinyl simply because it's too damn expensive, and that's just the bottom line. So my vinyl is pretty much limited to what I can find secondhand and go out and find, and that's the fun for me. That's the joy I get. The joy I experienced like today of finding that Slade album or finding that Donnie Iris album the other day. That's fun to me, and that's why I love to do this. But one of my objectives is to try to find certain albums that I had on tape growing up that the tapes wore out and couldn't play them anymore, and I fulfilled a few of those with some mail orders onto eBay. So let's start with those. The first one that I picked up was is Stone Fury, Burns Like a Star. I really thought that this album was great back in the day. I played it till it wouldn't play anymore. And if you're not familiar with the band Stone Fury, this is the band that Lenny Wolf from Kingdom Come got started in. I think, man, I don't know if Bruce Gowdy was the guitar player. I honestly can't remember if he came over with Kingdom Come also. I know that name is familiar with something else, but this is just a really good record. It's good, straightforward hard rock. I don't think it's kind of like a Led Zeppelin rip-off-ish as Kingdom Come was accused of. I never really got that vibe to listen to this. I just remember that I really enjoyed this record, and I picked this one up at not a very high price. So I'm really happy to have that one. And then Metalheads, you've heard me talk about. I've mentioned one of their other albums in another video. I've been on the lookout for License to Kill by Malice. Straightforward U.S. metal. It's got a little cutout here. I had to work very diligently to get a big sticker right off of the guy's head right here in the arm. One of the things that's always intrigued me about this album was the artwork. I think it's really cool, and this ominous figure right up here. It just didn't really have the same vibe with that big record store sticker right there, which was on the plastic. I couldn't understand why lost my train of thought. Anyway, I finally got the damn thing off of there, but I was really happy to pick this up. Malice, License to Kill. If you're familiar with the band, then you know that it's pretty awesome. And if you've never heard them, YouTube them. You won't be disappointed. And then another one of my favorites, kind of under the radar. A lot of people maybe never heard of this band. They didn't make a big break, but their leader and guitar player kind of made his start playing on some other influential albums. And I'm about 98% sure, I didn't do my research check, but I'm pretty sure that JerryRigs was a second guitar player for Pat Travers' band and recorded on Pat Travers' live album, Go for the Throat, and some other albums. But guys, it's JerryRigs, and this is his solo album, Rigs. They had a couple of songs that were on the heavy metal soundtrack. Radar Rider was the one I think that most people are probably familiar with. I hate to admit I can't come up with the other one right now. Anyway, two really great songs on that soundtrack that are a real good indicator of how good this band is. And this again is a cassette tape I picked up at a second, I think at a dime store. I remember 50-cent cassette tapes. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool with this vicious-looking dog and these tranquilizer darts or missiles or whatever those are on the album. I mean, man, that looks pretty heavy, and great, solid hard rock. Classic songs on here, at least for me, classic songs. Ready or Not, album opener, Ready or Not, over and over. Take It Off, oh, what a great song Take It Off is. Depending on Love, just really good tunes. But I've been looking for this for a long time in any other format that I could listen to besides my cassette that's worn out. This is really hard to find on CD. It's out of print, and you're going to pay a lot of money for it on CD. And I got this album for not a lot of cash. So very happy to get it. And then the crown jewel. Probably do a separate video just for this album, because I've been wanting to talk about this album for a long time, and I'm not going to say too much about it other than I'm so glad to finally have it again in another format. I've been wanting to get it on CD. Again, it's out of print. It's too expensive to really get. You can get it on MP3, but to me it's just not the same. But I've been wanting this album for a long time, never been able to find it, so I just looked for it on eBay and I got it. This album came out in 1981. The band is from Atlanta, Georgia. They're a good American hard rock band. And I've long said that I've always thought that Thin Lizzy was kind of maybe the most underrated and underappreciated band in all of rock and roll. And I wouldn't sway too much from that argument, because they still don't get the love that they deserve. But if I had to pick just one record and possibly one band that should have been so much bigger than they were, and did not break like they should have, and are so undervalued and unappreciated in rock and roll. It's this band right here, a band out of Atlanta, Georgia, Mother's Finest. And this is the album Iron Age. Again, came out from 1981. Look, if you're not familiar with this band or this album, you got to check this out. This is one of the greatest rock albums ever put to vinyl. This is one of my favorite records of all time. And again, I remember picking this up as a kid in the dime store. It had this kind of, I don't know, alien-looking kind of thing on the cover. With just it looked hard rock, you know. And back in the day, back in '81, you know, you had AC/DC, you had Ted Nugent, you had the Scorpions. That was kind of your hard rock back then. And I'm telling you, as I sit here, this album Iron Age, I would put this album up against anything else that came out in the '80s, and I would say that it would stand right next to anything that those great bands did. This is such a great album. And I don't know if maybe it was Jeff Glicksman's production, because Jeff Glicksman was, you know, a hard rock guy. But, you know, Mother's Finest typically started kind of as a hard rock funk band, and their first couple of albums had kind of almost maybe like Led Zeppelin meets in George Clinton or Parliament or Funkadelic. But they were always leading more toward the rock. And this album is straight full-on hard rock. Songs like Rock and Roll Tonight, Moving On, You Turn Me On, Time, Love Drug. This is just a great album, and again, one of my favorites of all time. I'm so glad to have this now, and now that I have it, is one less I have to look for. That kind of takes a little bit of that joy out of it. And I figured, kind of as irony, as soon as I got this in the mail, I'd probably find it on my next trip to the record store. But yeah, I don't want to get into a full-on review or discussion about the band, but this album really warrants a video all of it on its own. Just discuss it and its rightful place where it should be in rock history. I'm telling you right now, take my word for it. If you've never heard Mother's Finest, go on YouTube, check them out. Most of this album is available to listen to. Again, it's called Iron Age. You will not be disappointed in. If you're not familiar with them and you listen to them for the first time, you're gonna. I almost guarantee you're gonna have the same mindset I have. Why did this band not take off? Why were they not any bigger than they were? And they're still around today. The core members of this band are still around today, putting out music and touring. So check them out. I think you'll like it. All right, so that's going to be pretty much it for the albums I want to show you today. Hopefully, you know, I've got. I'll go out and pick up a few more. I found so many more today at the shop that I would have liked to have had. And again, it's just a matter of finances and being able to pick them up. So I know that the record you see today is the record that's probably gone tomorrow. But you know, sometimes you got to take your chances. And you know, you always might maybe find a better deal. Again, I think that's the joy in finding, you know, not just finding what you want, but finding it for a great price. And that's the joy of record shopping, record collecting, record hunting. So anyway, I've had some metal in here, got some rock, some non-metal. You know I'm metal, got my Condition Criticals tour shirt on here, you can see that. So I don't have to explain myself to anybody, and neither should you. Don't ever let them be afraid to see that you're metal, and let them know you're metal. Bang your head, throw the goat, and I'll see you next time.